Beloved child, there are moments when you assume it is nothing more than the silence of the night. Yet, in truth, it is the hour when your soul is being awakened by realities deeper than all the noise of this world. I see clearly the instant when you fall quiet, when every outer layer can no longer conceal what is rising from within you. This is not coincidence, nor is it a fleeting emotion. It is the touch of truth. As it is written, for the word of God is living and active, sharper than any two-edged sword, piercing to the division of soul and spirit. Hebrews 4:12. What you are sensing is not meant to frighten you, but to open your eyes to what you have long avoided seeing. I know you have tried to maintain a sense of stability, as though everything were still moving in the right direction. You have learned to soothe yourself, to name your unrest as mere fatigue, and to call your inner emptiness something ordinary. Yet beneath all those quiet reassurances, you still perceive a misalignment, a distance between the person you are living as and the one you were created to become. For I know the plans I have for you, plans for peace and not for harm, to give you a future and a hope. Jeremiah 29:11. When you are no longer aligned with that intention, your soul cannot find rest. No matter how complete your outward circumstances may appear, there are things you dismiss as passing memories. Yet in truth, they are fragments of light seeking their way back. The subtle stirrings, the dreams that make your heart tremble, the moments when you suddenly grow still, none of these are accidental. They are sacred points of contact, where truth gently finds its way through the cracks you have knowingly or unknowingly formed within your soul. I do not draw you back by force. I draw you through gentleness. For true love does not shout, it waits with patience. As it is written, behold, I stand at the door and knock. If anyone hears my voice and opens the door, I will come into him. Revelation 3:20. Beloved child, what you are experiencing is not loss, but awakening. The light within you has never vanished. It has only been veiled by choices, fears, and compromises you once believed were necessary for survival. Yet the soul was not created merely to survive. It was created to live, to shine, and to reflect the glory of the one who formed it. You are the light of the world, nor do people light a lamp and put it under a basket. Matthew 5:14-15. When you withdraw and hide yourself, that light does not disappear. It aches because it is not being expressed. Remember the story of the prophet Elijah when he fled into the wilderness, exhausted and despairing, believing he was utterly alone. He longed for death, thinking that everything had come to an end. Yet I did not come to him in the strong wind, nor in the earthquake, nor in the fire. I came in a gentle whisper. 1 Kings 19:11-12. And in that stillness, Elijah realized that he had never been abandoned. So it is with you. What is calling to you is not a threat, but the quiet voice of life, inviting you back onto the path that is truly yours. You have grown accustomed to concealing the fractures within your heart, striving to present a steady and composed image before the world. Yet I do not see you through those outer layers. I look into the deepest place within you, the place where you are still sensitive, still longing, still capable of love and trust. The Lord does not see as man sees. Man looks at the outward appearance, but the Lord looks at the heart. 1 Samuel 16:7. And in that very place, I see a light that has never been extinguished, only waiting to be rekindled. You may feel unsettled when you realize that you have drifted away from what is true. But hear this, no awareness is ever in vain. Each time you dare to face the truth, you are taking a step back toward your true self, not for condemnation, not for self-accusation, but for healing. He heals the brokenhearted and binds up their wounds. Psalm 147:3. I do not reveal your wounds to deepen your pain, but so that you no longer have to carry them in silence. Beloved child, do not be afraid of what you are feeling. Do not turn away as you have before. Be still long enough to listen. Allow these stirrings to lead you into truth rather than drive you into avoidance. What you are encountering is not the end of something, but the beginning of restoration. As it is written, I will give you a new heart and put a new spirit within you. Ezekiel 36:26. So I call you not by force, but by unwavering love. Return to yourself, to the deepest place of your soul where I have always been present. Remember who you were before fear and layers caused you to forget. Let that light live again. You do not need to be perfect. You only need to be willing. I am still here unchanged, unshaken, never distant, and the light within you is still waiting for you to return, so that together we may cause it to burn brightly once more. Beloved child, understand this from the very beginning. Not every call that reaches you carries accusation. There are voices that touch your soul not to judge, but to awaken what you are sensing, the quiet stirrings. The moments when your heart suddenly grows heavy, this is not condemnation, but love patiently drawing you out of your own slumber. As it is written, awake, O sleeper, rise from the dead, and Christ will shine on you. Ephesians 5:14. I do not call you because you are wrong. I call you because you are still able to live fully. There are days when you move through life without truly being present within it. You still breathe, still smile, still fulfill your responsibilities, yet deep inside, a part of you is gradually falling silent. I see this, and I tell you, your soul was not created to exist like an unfeeling machine. It was formed to sense, to respond, to live in the full depth of truth. I have come that they may have life, and have it abundantly. John 10:10. If you live without truly feeling, you are losing the very gift I placed within you from the beginning. You have believed that turning away from pain is strength. But no, child, true strength is not found in avoidance, but in the ability to face what is real without collapsing. You have thought yourself free because nothing seems able to touch your heart anymore. Yet I tell you the truth, no one is truly free when the heart is closed. Where the Spirit of the Lord is, there is freedom. 2 Corinthians 3:17. And the Spirit does not dwell in numbness, but in a soul that knows how to open, how to weep, how to love, and how to trust. There is a truth you once understood clearly, yet over time you have allowed it to fade. Wounds are not the end. They are doorways. Light cannot pass through a flawless wall, but it always finds its way through the cracks. As it is written, my power is made perfect in weakness. 2 Corinthians 12:9. What you call weakness is precisely where I choose to reveal my strength. Do not drive pain away as though it were an enemy. Recognize it instead as an invitation to step deeper into truth. Remember the woman who had suffered from a flow of blood for 12 years. She had tried every possible remedy, spent all that she had, yet found no relief, until the moment she dared to press through the crowd and reach for the hem of my garment, a small act, yet filled with courage. Mark 5:25-34. And in that very instant, power went out, not because she was strong, but because she faced her pain and placed her faith in the right place. So it is with you. Your healing does not begin when you are perfect, but when you dare to touch the truth with a sincere heart. Beloved child, amid all the noise of the world, I have placed a distinct sound for your soul alone. It is not a voice of force, but an invitation of forgiveness, of hope, of things that are never too late. The steadfast love of the Lord never ceases. His mercies never come to an end. They are new every morning. Lamentations 3:22-23. No matter how far you have gone, there is always a way back, and that way is never closed to you. There are moments when you suddenly pause before a ray of light, a gentle sound, a fleeting instant that seems meaningless, yet your soul trembles. This is not coincidence. It is my way of reminding you that you are still alive, still able to feel, still not lost to yourself. These small things are signs that the light within you is still waiting to be awakened. The heavens declare the glory of God. The skies proclaim the work of his hands. Psalm 19:1. All of creation can become a reminder, if you are willing to listen, and there will come a moment not when you are completely ready, but when you are honest enough, when you will open your heart, even if only through a quiet whisper of prayer. No need for ornate words. No need for perfect phrases. Only truth is required, and I will answer. Call to me, and I will answer you, and show you great and mighty things which you do not know. Jeremiah 33:3. I do not demand perfection. I seek a heart that is open. You are still there, more whole than you realize, brighter than you imagine. The good within you has not disappeared. It is simply waiting for you to return and receive it again. I did not create you to remain lost. I created you to find your way, even after stumbling. Though the righteous fall 7 times, they rise again. Proverbs 24:16. Beloved child, I see the moment when you no longer turn away, not because every fear has vanished, but because you choose to stand instead of flee. And in that place that once felt like an ending, I place into your hands a new beginning. What comes to you is not a warning, but an open door. As it is written, behold, I have set before you an open door, which no one is able to shut. Revelation 3:8. That door is not far away. It is within the very breath you carry, within each heartbeat that has never ceased, within the small light that persists, even on the days you believed you had nothing left. Understand this, my child. True life is not as loud as you once believed. It does not begin with celebration or dazzling signs. It is born in stillness, when a soul decides it will no longer evade the truth. When you dare to step forward, even if it is only a trembling step, you have already entered the process of your own resurrection. I am the resurrection and the life. Whoever believes in me, though he die, yet shall he live. John 11:25. This speaks not only of the body, but of the soul, a soul that once grew cold, now slowly being warmed back to life. You may not yet see the path ahead clearly. Conflicting voices may still rise around you, leaving you uncertain, afraid that you might take the wrong step. But I do not require you to understand every turn. I look only at your choice in this present moment. You have not stopped, and that is enough to set a new journey in motion. Your word is a lamp to my feet and a light to my path. Psalm 119:105. The light does not illuminate the entire road at once. It is given only for the next step, and that is enough. You once thought weakness meant having a heart that is easily broken, easily moved to tears, easily wounded. But now you are beginning to see a deeper truth. A soul is truly fragile when it no longer feels at all, when joy cannot reach you, when sorrow no longer brings tears, when beauty no longer causes you to pause. This is not strength. It is the sign of a heart that has been closed for too long. Yet I tell you, your heart is not dead. It is simply weary. And I do not abandon a heart that is weary from loving. Blessed are those who mourn, for they shall be comforted. Matthew 5:4. Your ability to feel again is itself the evidence that life is still present within you. I have witnessed the times you remained silent when you should have spoken. I saw you turn away when your heart knew you were meant to stay. I saw your strained smile among the crowd, while within you stretched a vast emptiness that has never truly been filled. Yet I do not look upon you with disappointment. I look upon you with patience. For I know you did not become this way in a single day, and neither will your restoration come in a single moment. A bruised reed he will not break, and a smoldering wick he will not quench. Isaiah 42:3. You are not cast aside. You are being preserved. Remember the prodigal son when he left his father's house, squandered everything, and fell into deep need. He believed he had lost every right to return. Yet it was when he came to himself, when he recognized his true condition, that the journey of restoration began. Luke 15:17-24. And what awaited him was not punishment, but the open arms of his Father. So it is with you. The moment you realize you have strayed is not failure, it is the beginning of your return. You do not need to force yourself to change overnight. Healing does not move at the hurried pace of the world. It grows in patience, step by step, through small yet sincere decisions. Today, you choose not to avoid. Tomorrow, you learn to face what is real. Then you learn to forgive not only others, but yourself. Be kind and compassionate to one another, forgiving each other, just as God in Christ forgave you. Ephesians 4:32. That forgiveness does not erase the past, but it frees you from being bound by it. You have built walls to protect yourself, I understand that. But those walls do not only keep out pain, they also keep out love. And when love cannot enter, you begin to feel alone, no matter how many people surround you. Yet I continue to call you, not to destroy you, but to lead you out of the place where you have confined yourself. I will lead them in ways they have not known. Along unfamiliar paths I will guide them. I will turn the darkness before them into light. Isaiah 42:16. Beloved child, what I desire from you is not perfection, but presence. Remain in this moment. Be honest with what you are feeling. Continue forward, even if your steps are slow. For every step you take in truth brings you closer to your true self and closer to me. I have never left you, and the light within you, even if it only flickers, is still enough to lead you back. Beloved child, when you begin to face yourself with honesty, when you no longer avoid what lies deep within, you will discover something remarkable. The world itself has not changed, yet everything before your eyes appears different. Not because circumstances have shifted, but because your vision has been cleansed. As it is written, the eye is the lamp of the body. If your eye is healthy, your whole body will be full of light. Matthew 6:22. When your inner sight is healed, all that you see outwardly is clothed with new meaning, deeper, gentler, and more real. Then you will find that even the simplest things carry the breath of life. A familiar tree will feel like an old companion. A passing rain will no longer be an inconvenience, but a stream washing away the unseen dust upon your soul. An old melody will touch your heart, not to awaken pain as before, but to stir gratitude, reminding you that you can still feel. Everything God created is good, 1 Timothy 4:4. Yet only when your heart is open can you truly perceive its beauty. You once believed that weariness, weakness, and unnamed longings were signs of failure. But I tell you, these are signs that you are still alive. A soul that has gone cold feels nothing at all. But you still tremble, still yearn, still sense a deeper absence within. Blessed are those who hunger and thirst for righteousness, for they shall be filled. Matthew 5-6. The thirst within you is not meant to wound you, but to lead you to the true source of living water. You once feared your own fragility. You believed that if your wounds were exposed, you would appear weak in the eyes of others. But listen, child light never passes through sealed walls. It always finds its way through the cracks. The very places you thought were broken are the places where life begins to enter. My power is made perfect in weakness, 2 Corinthians 12:9. No one can truly love unless they have dared to let their heart be touched. And you right now are learning to love again. Not through perfection, but through sincerity. I see the small changes within you, even if you have not yet named them. A morning when you awaken and feel your heart a little lighter. A moment when you pause amid the rush of life and realize you are no longer being carried away as before. These things are not random. They are signs of restoration, quietly unfolding. He makes me lie down in green pastures. He leads me beside still waters, Psalm 23:2. I am not in haste with you. I guide you step by step, rhythm by rhythm, so that you are not merely changed, but transformed from within. Remember the story of Zacchaeus, a man despised by society, living in isolation and shame. Yet when he heard that I was passing by, he climbed a tree just to catch a glimpse. A small act, perhaps even seen as foolish. Yet it became the turning point of his life, Luke 19:1-10. And when I looked up, I did not see a sinner, I saw a soul longing to be seen. So it is with you. If you are willing to take even one small step, I will meet you there. Beloved child, the day will come when you no longer live only for yourself. As you are healed, you will begin to see other souls, those who are lost, weary, and searching, just as you once were, and you will no longer turn away. You will reach out your hand, not in pride, but in understanding. Comfort one another with the comfort you yourselves have received from God, 2 Corinthians 1-4. What you have gone through is not meaningless. It is the seed of compassion that I am planting within you. You will come to realize that not a single tear is wasted. Not a single long night is without purpose. Every time you have fallen, every moment you believed you could not rise again, each of these has become a foundation that allows you to understand others more deeply. And one day, you will speak to someone who is standing on the edge, and you will say, I have been there, and I have come through, not because I was stronger, but because I did not give up. Like a flame passed from one candle to another, you will become a source of light for others, not diminishing your own light, but causing it to burn even brighter. You are the light of the world, Matthew 5:14. That light is not something you created. It is what I placed within you from the beginning, and now it is being awakened once more. Therefore, beloved child, continue walking forward. Cherish every small change, every moment in which you begin to feel life again. You are not yet perfect, but you are alive. And in my eyes, that alone is already a miracle unfolding day by day. Beloved child, the deepest truth you are beginning to grasp does not lie in signs or in eloquent counsel, but in something simple yet powerful, the faith that you can return. No sharp reasoning is required. No visible proof, only a heart courageous enough to believe. As it is written, now faith is the assurance of things hoped for, the conviction of things not seen, Hebrews 11:1. It is this faith that has held you when you thought you had drifted too far. And it is this same faith that is now opening the path for you to come back. I see every step you take, even when it is slow, even when it trembles. But know this, child, none of those steps are in vain. They are like a new song being written, imperfect, yet sincere, incomplete, yet alive. Sing to the Lord a new song, Psalm 96:1. That song does not need perfection. It only needs to rise from a soul that has chosen to remain silent no longer. And as you walk in this way, you are not merely moving forward, you are being brought back to life. There is something you must understand clearly. Silence from the spiritual realm is not abandonment. When you begin to listen, when you have already responded, the call no longer needs to resound as it once did. Not because love has diminished, but because it has fulfilled its purpose to awaken you. He who has ears to hear, let him hear. Matthew 11:15. And you at last have heard, not with your ears, but with your soul. Yet, beloved child, I must also tell you a truth you should not avoid. Time is not infinite. Mercy flows gently, but it is not given so that you may delay forever. Behold, now is the favorable time. Behold, now is the day of salvation. 2 Corinthians 6:2. Each day you awaken is not merely a gift, it is an invitation. An opportunity to choose life instead of postponement, to choose truth instead of avoidance. You have grown accustomed to saying, tomorrow. Tomorrow you will live more truthfully. Tomorrow you will correct what is wrong. Tomorrow you will love more deeply. But child, tomorrow is not where life begins. Life exists only in the present. Do not boast about tomorrow, for you do not know what a day may bring. Proverbs 27:1. Every time you delay, you are not merely postponing action, you are postponing your very life. Remember the parable of the 10 virgins waiting for the bridegroom, Matthew 25:1-13. Some were prepared, keeping their lamps burning, ready when the moment came. Others delayed, assuming there would still be time, and when the door was shut, they realized that opportunity does not remain open forever. You were not created to live in haste, but neither were you created to delay what matters most, the return of your own soul. I do not say this to instill fear, but to awaken you. For I love you too deeply to let you remain asleep within promises that are never fulfilled. Choose life, that you and your offspring may live. Deuteronomy 30:19. That choice does not belong to tomorrow. It belongs to this very moment. You are living. You have been given more than you realize, more opportunities, more reminders, more moments in which you could turn back. And now, you have begun to walk. Do not return to the old habit of delay. Do not soothe yourself with promises you will fulfill later. Live what you know to be true now. Beloved child, listen to me in this stillness, for there are things that do not come with noise, but with a quiet closing, gentle, almost unnoticed, yet powerful enough to shape an entire life. There are doors opened by mercy, yet they are not left open forever to accommodate hesitation. Time itself is one of those doors. It does not shut with force, but with a deep silence, like a light slowly fading when it is no longer received. As it is written, "My spirit shall not strive with man forever." Genesis 6:3. Not because love has diminished, but because you have been given the power to choose, and that choice has its limits. There will come a moment when you stand before a boundary that is no longer blurred. There will be no more gray space for delay. No more room for a soul that seeks to hold both sides. Either you step into the light where you dare to face, to bow, to allow truth to heal what has been fractured, or you turn toward the darkness, where avoidance continues and the heart grows accustomed to indifference. Today, if you hear his voice, do not harden your hearts. Hebrews 3:15. Hardness of heart does not come in a single day. It is formed little by little. Each time you choose to turn away, you must understand this clearly. Child, no one can choose for you. No angel can pull you into the light if you do not step forward yourself. No soul, no matter how deeply it loves you, can live your awakening in your place. I have set before you life and death, therefore choose life. Deuteronomy 30:19. I have brought you to the threshold, but it is you who must decide whether to cross it or remain where you are. I know you have already sensed it. Something is gradually closing. Not merely a season, but a sacred opportunity passing by. You feel the silence after your prayers, the emptiness after fleeting joys, the faith that once burned brightly, now dimming. Do not mistake this as my absence. No, I am still here. But there are times when I step back to see whether you desire enough to seek, whether you love enough to return. You will seek me and find me when you seek me with all your heart. Jeremiah 29:13. Beloved child, there have been moments you have missed, apologies you held back, hands you did not take when they were extended, times when you knew you should stop, yet continued in the wrong direction. I do not speak of these to condemn you, but to help you recognize the value of every opportunity. For each time you remain indifferent, your heart becomes more accustomed to not responding. Each time you delay, you erode the bridge that leads you back to yourself. Whoever is faithful in very little is also faithful in much. Luke 16:10. And in the same way, small indifference can lead to great loss. Perhaps you no longer feel fear. Perhaps words of warning no longer stir your heart as they once did. But child, do not confuse silence with peace. There are silences that are not rest, but signs of a door quietly closing. Watch and pray that you may not enter into temptation. Matthew 26:41. Watchfulness is not panic, it is awareness of the moment, and the willingness to act while there is still time. Remember the story of Noah. When the ark was completed, the door remained open for a time, a season of grace in which people could still enter. But then the moment came when I, myself, shut the door. Genesis 7:16. Not because love had ended, but because the appointed time had been fulfilled. Those who remained outside were not excluded because they were not invited, but because they did not enter while the door was still open. Beloved child, the calls you once sensed did not come to accuse you, but to draw you back. Yet even love moves within a rhythm of time, not because it weakens, but because the opportunity to respond does not last forever. I do not desire for you to live under the weight of a day when it feels too late. So stand upright in this very moment. Do not turn away any longer. Do not delay any further. If you know you need to apologize, do it now. If you know you need to return, take the step now. If you know you need to change, begin now. Do not withhold good from those to whom it is due, when it is in your power to act. Proverbs 3:27. I do not speak to you as an ending, but as a loving urgency. The door is still open, but not forever. You still have time, but it is not without limit. Choose and step forward, for the light is still waiting for you on the side toward which you decide to turn. Beloved child, I say this not as a threat, but so you may understand the depth of love. True love always walks hand in hand with righteousness. It is not that I cease to love when you turn away, but that I honor the choice I have placed in your hands. As it is written, the light has come into the world, and people love darkness rather than the light. John 3:19. Light does not force it, waits. But if you do not move toward it, you will gradually grow accustomed to the darkness you have chosen. There are moments when you do not realize you are standing at a boundary. There is no thunder, no dramatic sign, only a quiet stillness, like a door closing so softly that you do not hear it. And one day, you realize that the things that once touched you, the stirrings, the reminders, the gentle winds are no longer there, not because they never existed, but because you have passed the moment in which you could respond. Seek the Lord while he may be found. Call upon him while he is near. Isaiah 55:6. There are times when he is nearer, and there are times when the distance is left for you to cross. Beloved child, do not mistake love for entitlement. Love is a gift freely given, yet never forced to be received, and time is the frame of that gift. Each day you live is a door opening before you, not for you to stand and observe, but for you to enter. Do not withhold good when it is in your power to act. Proverbs 3:27. Each time you hesitate, You are not merely delaying action, you are allowing an opportunity to pass without return. I know there are things you have missed, words you held back when they should have been spoken, embraces you did not offer when your heart knew you should. Yet, I do not remind you of these to drown you in regret. I remind you so you may recognize the value of the present. For what you still hold is this moment, and in this moment, the door has not yet closed. Remember the parable of the wedding feast when those who were invited were not prepared, and when they arrived too late. The door had already been shut. Matthew 25:10, 12. It was not because the host no longer desired their presence, but because the appointed time had passed. You are not called to live in fear, but you are called to remain awake, to not miss what is sacred before you. You have spoken of the whispers that once came to you, those fragile stirrings like a gentle wind, those feelings you could not explain. You thought they were only imagination, the fatigue of your mind, but I tell you the truth. Not everything unseen is unreal. There are things that cannot be measured by logic, yet are more real than anything your hands can touch. The wind blows where it wishes. You hear its sound, but you do not know where it comes from or where it goes. John 3:8. The spiritual often comes in this way without force, without competition, simply present, waiting to be recognized. Yet you have become accustomed to a noisy world, one where everything is measured by clarity, by results, by what can be proven. In such a world, the gentle has no place. The whispers are drowned out by the noise of work, of worries, of what you call reality. And slowly, you have learned to ignore the deepest things your soul once perceived. Still, love has never given up, not because you are more deserving, but because true love does not measure as humans do. It is patient, quiet, enduring like the moon that continues to shine even when no one looks up. As it is written, the Lord is not willing that any should perish, but that all should come to repentance. 2 Peter 3:9. Yet that patience is not infinite in your experience because you live within time, and time has its limits. Beloved child, if yesterday you did not listen, then listen today. If before you dismissed it, now hold on to it. If you once thought it was only a passing thought, now pause long enough to recognize something is calling you back. I do not ask you to understand everything. I do not require you to change all at once. I invite you to one thing. Do not continue to ignore it. Do not allow what is most sacred to become what you are accustomed to overlooking. The door is still open right now, but you must be the one to step through. Beloved child, you once believed that the most important moment would arrive like a storm, clear, loud, unmistakable. But I tell you the truth, the deepest calls of the soul are never like that. They come as a gentle breeze, as a quiet breath, as a subtle stirring that only those who pause can perceive. As it is written, the Lord was not in the great wind, nor in the earthquake, nor in the fire, but in a still small voice. 1 Kings 19:11-12. It is within that smallness that truth is revealed, and because it is small, it is easily missed. You cannot know which call will be the last. There is no sign to mark it, no announcement to declare it. But each time you turn away, each time you say to yourself, "Not yet," you move closer to a point you may not even recognize. Watch, therefore, for you know neither the day nor the hour. Matthew 25:13. The danger is not that you do not know it, is that you assume you still have time. I have seen how you once sensed these things, those subtle stirrings so faint that you dismiss them as passing moments. A sudden heaviness in your heart without a clear reason. A quiet sense that something was not right, even when everything outwardly seemed normal. These were not coincidences. They were moments when your soul was being touched, yet you let them drift away. as though they were not important enough to hold on to. Then there were times when the call was no longer gentle. It grew heavier, clearer, more urgent, not because love had changed, but because the moment had. When gentleness is no longer enough to awaken, urgency follows. As it is written, "Return to me with all your heart, with fasting, weeping, and mourning." Joel 2:12. Not to frighten you, but so that you would not remain asleep. You have felt it, haven't you? The sudden quickening of your heartbeat without explanation. The moments when your thoughts are interrupted, as though something presses in. The unease that arises without a visible cause. This is not your weakness, it is the life within you trying to speak. Yet you have learned to soothe yourself with words that are easier than truth. You tell yourself that everything is fine, that it is only fatigue, that it will pass. And you repeat these things not because you truly believe them, but because they allow you to avoid what is real. There is a way that seems right to a man, but its end is the way of death. Proverbs 14:12. The most dangerous deception is not what comes from outside, but what you tell yourself to escape the truth. Remember the story of Jonah. When he was called, he did not refuse with words. He simply turned away. He chose another path, hoping delay would change what had already been set. But the storm came, not to destroy him, but to bring him back. Jonah 1. So it is with you. The unrest within you is not a loss of control, it is a call to return. Beloved child, I do not fault you for not recognizing it at once. I understand that you have lived too long in a rhythm where everything must be clear, rational, and explainable. But the soul does not speak the language of logic. It speaks through feeling, through stillness, through things that can only be understood when you are willing to pause. I do not ask you to listen perfectly. I invite you to one thing: do not continue to ignore it. When something within you is stirred, pause. When your heart is unsettled, listen. When you sense that something is not right, do not rush to quiet it with easy words. For each time you choose to face rather than avoid, you open your door a little wider. And each time you open, the light can enter more fully. You do not need to understand everything. You do not need certainty about every step. You only need to be honest with what you are feeling. Blessed are the pure in heart, for they shall see God. Matthew 5-8. That purity begins the moment you stop deceiving yourself. Beloved child, if yesterday was missed, today still remains. If you turned away before, now you can turn back. If you have been asleep, you can awaken in this very moment. I am still here, and I am still calling gently, yet truly. Beloved child, I see you as you walk like one who no longer fully feels each step you take. You believe you are moving forward, yet within you there is a haze, like someone wandering through mist. The things you buried, avoided, and declared already past, they have not disappeared. They have only grown quiet, waiting until you are vulnerable enough to face them. And in that moment, your soul begins to tremble in ways your mind cannot explain. As it is written, you have set our iniquities before you, our secret sins in the light of your presence. Psalm 98. Not to expose you in shame, but to show you that nothing truly vanishes until it has been healed. There are times when you feel a weight without form, a heaviness in the air, a silence that tightens your chest, not because the world has changed, but because something within you has drifted from the true source of peace. The wicked are like the troubled sea, which cannot rest. Isaiah 57-20. That unrest is not a sign of weakness. It is a sign that your soul is trying to tell you something you have long refused to hear. Do not confuse my silence with your inability to hear. There are times when I do not raise my voice, but instead invite you to slow the rhythm of your life so you can recognize that I am still there. What you call no more signs is often an invitation to grow in discernment. You will seek me and find me when you seek me with all your heart. Jeremiah 29-13. I have not departed. I am waiting for you to seek with a sincere heart. You look back on your past emotions, those tears, the moments your chest tightened, the experiences you could not explain. You call them warnings, reminders. I tell you, they are not meaningless, but neither are they final closures of hope. They were small doors that opened, and even now, a door still stands open before you. Behold, I stand at the door and knock. Revelation 3:20. I do not break the door. I knock. And when you open, I enter. Beloved child, I do not want you to live in fear that you have lost everything. Fear does not lead you to life. It causes you to shrink. I want you to awaken. But in hope, I want you to understand the weight of your choices without falling into despair. The Lord is gracious and compassionate, slow to anger and rich in love. Psalm 145-8. Mercy is not endless within your timeline, but neither is it so fragile that it disappears because of a moment of weakness. Understand justice rightly. Child, justice is not anger waiting to punish you. It is truth standing firm when love is rejected. And I do not desire that path for you. I desire that you return before your heart becomes hardened. Today, if you hear his voice, do not harden your hearts. Hebrews 3:15. Not tomorrow, not someday, today. You say that each time you ignore the call is a step away from grace. That is true, but there is another truth. Every time you turn back, no matter how late, is a step toward home. And I receive that step, not because you have become more deserving, but because I have always been ready. Whoever comes to me, I will never cast out. John 6:37. Remember the prodigal son. He went far, missed many chances, and lived through wrong choices. But when he turned back, even before he could finish speaking, the Father ran to meet him. Luke 15:20. There is no silence so deep that I cannot break through it when you return. Beloved child, what I want you to hold is not the fear that this may be the last time, but this truth. The very moment you realize you cannot continue as you have been, that is where life begins again. And if right now, in some quiet corner of your heart, there is even a small thought rising, I need to change, I need to return, hold on to it. Beloved child, I hear the confession hidden within what you are facing, not merely the actions, but the sense that you have drifted from the light within you. But understand this clearly. You are not permanently defined by what you have done. Truth must be faced, not to crush you, but to set you free. As it is written, whoever conceals his transgressions will not prosper, but he who confesses and forsakes them will obtain mercy. Proverbs 28:13. What matters is not how far you have gone astray, but whether you are willing to turn back. You say that you have taken what did not belong to you. Trust, peace, even a part of another person's soul. Call it by its true name. You have caused harm. And yes, no action is without consequence. Whatever a man sows, that he will also reap. Galatians 6-7. But you must understand more deeply. Reaping is not only about bearing consequences, it is also the opportunity to change what you sow. Consequence is not a final sentence. It is an invitation into true responsibility. You feel as though everything around you is witnessing, as if nothing can remain hidden. That is not wrong, but it is not meant to condemn you. Nothing is hidden that will not be disclosed. Luke 8:17. Truth is revealed not to destroy you, but to free you from the falsehood that has bound you. You cannot heal what you continue to conceal. I do not deny the weight you are carrying, the shadow of your choices, the unrest within your heart. But you go too far when you believe you have entered a place where there is no more salvation. That is not the voice of truth. It is the voice of despair, and I do not agree with it. Though your sins are like scarlet, they shall be as white as snow. Isaiah 1:18. Not because sin is insignificant, but because mercy is greater than you imagine. Look at the story of Zacchaeus. He did not merely make mistakes, he exploited others and took what was not his. Yet when he faced the truth, he did not only say, "I am sorry," he acted. "If I have cheated anyone out of anything, I will pay back 4 times the amount." Luke 19:8. And in that very moment, salvation entered his house. Not when he was perfect, but when he was honest and willing to make it right. Beloved child, this is what you must understand. Guilt is not the end point. It is a signal. But if you stop there, condemning yourself, punishing yourself, you turn a signal into chains. There is therefore now no condemnation for those who are in Christ Jesus. Romans 8:1. What I desire from you is not self-punishment, but a change of direction. You say that nothing can erase what has happened. That is true. The past cannot be undone. But the future is not locked by the past. Truth has reached the root of your soul, and that is precisely where restoration must begin. Not with empty words, but with true repentance, a concrete, visible turning. Listen carefully. Child, it is not your tears that change everything. It is your decision after the tears. It is not regret that saves you. It is transformation. It is not how deeply you feel your failure. It is what you choose to do next. You still have a choice, and that alone proves the door has not closed. I am not saying you will avoid consequences. There are things to repair, relationships to restore, what must be returned through action, not merely words. But this is not your destruction. It is the path that leads you back to truth. Do not run from your shadow. Turn and face it in the light. For only when light touches it does darkness lose its power. If we walk in the light, we have fellowship with one another. And the blood of Jesus cleanses us from all sin. 1 John 1-7. Beloved child, I do not see you as a verdict. I see you as a soul standing between 2 paths and still able to choose. If you truly desire to begin again, then begin here. Stop justifying. Stop avoiding. Call what you have done by its true name, and take one real step, however small, to make it right. This is where redemption begins. And I say this to you not as empty comfort, but as a firm truth. You have not lost your opportunity, but you must use it now. Beloved child, I need to stop you at this very point, not to deny the seriousness of what you are feeling, but to correct something that has become distorted in your understanding. You are beginning to believe that everything is too late, that you have crossed a boundary from which there is no return. That is not true. It may sound profound, but in truth, it is a form of despair disguised as something spiritual. Hear me clearly. There is no absolute line that, once crossed, erases every opportunity at once, as you imagine. There are consequences, yes. There is harm, yes. There is responsibility to bear, yes. But no way back is not true. The Lord is near to the brokenhearted and saves those who are crushed in spirit. Psalm 34:18. If you can still recognize you're wrong, still feel sorrow, still sense loss, then you have not been cut off from the light. That awareness itself is the sign that your soul is still alive. What you are describing is real. The emptiness, the disconnection, the feeling of becoming a stranger to yourself. But name it rightly, it is not an irreversible supernatural sentence. It is the spiritual and psychological consequence of moving against what you know to be right. And consequence is not the end. It is a signal. My son, Do not despise the discipline of the Lord, because the Lord disciplines the one he loves. Hebrews 12:5-6. What you are experiencing is not destruction, it is a collision with truth. You say you have touched what was not yours, caused harm, crossed a line, then hold on to that honesty. But do not add a false conclusion that you have been permanently rejected. Look again at the story of David. He did not merely err, he abused power, caused harm, even led to another's death. Yet when he faced the truth, he said, I have sinned against the Lord. 2 Samuel 12:13. And from there, restoration began not by erasing consequences, but by transforming who he became within. Beloved child, the most dangerous thing right now is not what you have done. It is that you are beginning to believe you have no chance to make it right. That is where darkness truly wants you to stop. I do not agree with the thought that you are being consumed beyond saving, nor do I agree with painting your reality as an irreversible fate. That is not faith, it is surrender to despair. The righteous fall 7 times and rise again. Proverbs 24-16. Now hear me plainly. You cannot return to the past to erase what has happened, but you can completely change your direction from here. You cannot avoid consequences, but you can decide how you will face them. You cannot make everything as if it never happened, but you can become someone different, truer, more responsible, more aligned with what is right. The feeling you describe of being as though your soul has been taken from you comes from living out of alignment with your own conscience. And the way back to life is not through more fear, but through right action. Not emotion will restore you. Not fear will restore you. Action is what begins restoration. So I will speak to you plainly. If you have harmed someone, seek to make it right. Not with polished words, but with real responsibility. If you have spoken falsely, stop and speak truthfully. If you have taken what was not yours, return it in whatever way you can. If you have lived falsely, begin to live truthfully, even if it costs you something. This is the path. There is no other. Beloved child, now that you have recognized where you stand, now that you have stopped running and begun to face the truth, this is the moment your soul must speak, not with justification, but with full sincerity. No more concealment, no more reasoning, no more holding anything back. From that depth, I invite you into a true connection, where words do not merely form on your lips, but flow from the awakened depths of your being. Let your heart open fully, and offer your prayers as a true return, unforced, unpatterned, living, just as your journey is living. Now lift your soul in the deepest reverence, and offer your plea from a place where nothing is hidden. Almighty God, the one who sees all that I have tried to conceal, I no longer come before you with empty, polished words, but with the raw truth of who I am. I acknowledge what I have done, the harm I have caused, the paths I have chosen that led me away from what is right, and I no longer wish to hide from your light. Shine into every hidden place within me, not to condemn me, but to reveal what must be healed. Give me the courage not to turn away when truth appears, and the strength to begin again, not with empty promises, but with real, concrete actions. Step by step, do not allow me to return to the old ways where I deceived myself, but keep me awake, so that each choice I make moves toward what is right, even when I am still weak. Loving Father, who has not abandoned me even when I turned away, I bring this second prayer to you with a trembling heart that longs to be made new. I know I cannot erase what has happened, but I believe you can transform me from within. Remove from me the hardness of heart, the false defenses, and every layer I have built to hide the truth. Replace them with a heart that listens, that truly repents, and that loves without self-interest. Teach me how to face consequences without resentment, how to make things right without seeking recognition, and how to live again without returning to what I once was. Help me to understand that forgiveness is not something I can demand, but something I must become ready to receive. O keeper of my soul, in this third prayer, I ask that you touch the deepest place within me, the place where I once lost myself. There are parts of me that have become unfamiliar, emotions I no longer recognize, and empty spaces I do not know how to fill. Yet I believe that no part of me is too far for you to reach. Restore within me the sensitivity of my conscience, that I may no longer be indifferent to what is wrong. Rekindle in me the ability to perceive what is good, that I may not grow numb to the light, and lead me step by step, not by force, but by a gentle and steady guidance, so that I will not lose my way again. O God of righteousness and mercy, I offer this fourth prayer as a commitment from the depths of my soul. I do not ask you to remove the consequences, but I ask that you be with me as I face them. Help me not to avoid responsibility, not to shift blame, not to seek escape, but to stand firm in truth. Grant me the strength to make things right, the humility to ask for forgiveness, and the perseverance to keep walking even when I feel weak. And in all of this, keep me mindful that every step I take in truth is a step closer to the light. And now, from a place that was once in ruins, but is slowly being rebuilt, I offer my first thanksgiving, not because I am worthy, but because you did not abandon me in my wandering. I thank you for allowing me to see the truth before it was too late, for not letting me remain in deception without awareness. I thank you for the moments I thought I was lost, when in reality you were drawing me back. And though I am still on the journey, I know that the very fact I can continue forward is a grace I must never take lightly. Finally, I offer my second thanksgiving with a heart of deep gratitude for the opportunity to begin again, not from a place of perfection, but from the very place where I fell. I thank you for not closing the door when I believed everything had ended. I thank you that the light remains, even when I turned away. And I know that from this moment forward, I will no longer live unconsciously, but as one who understands what must be chosen and how to walk. Help me never to forget this, that each day I live is an opportunity to live rightly, to love rightly, and to become the person you intended me to be from the beginning. Thank you for listening to this message. Know that you are not merely an audience. You are chosen to live daily in the presence of God's Word. Do not forget to subscribe and turn on the notification bell so you do not miss any spiritual messages. Amen. My beloved child, when your mind is anchored in me, the one who never changes, the waves around you will no longer have the power to drown you. Not because the waves have weakened, but because you are now standing upon a firm foundation. Whoever hears my words and puts them into practice is like a wise man who built his house on the rock. Matthew 7:24. And when you keep my light within you, darkness cannot overcome it. For the light shines in the darkness, and the darkness has not overcome it. John 1:5. You do not need to struggle to preserve the light. You only need to remain in the light, and the darkness will withdraw on its own. Therefore, my child, this is your moment to rise, not through outward noise, but through a deep inward decision. A decision to leave behind the things that have held you back for far too long, the doubts that have weakened you, the lies that have made you forget who you are, and the paralysis that has kept you from moving forward. Awake, O sleeper, and arise, and Christ will shine on you. Ephesians 5:14. I am not calling you to remain where you are. I am calling you to step into the light that has always been waiting for you. I have placed within you a light not meant to be hidden, but to shine. You were not created to dwell in the darkness of limitation, but to reflect what I am doing within you. You are the light of the world, Matthew 5:14. Not a light of your own making, but a light ignited by me. And as you walk in that light, you will not only find your own path, but you will also become a path for others. But understand this, my beloved, time does not pause while you wait to feel ready. With every moment of delay, you remain still while the current of purpose continues to move forward. I do not say this to pressure you, but to awaken you. Watch therefore, for you know neither the day nor the hour, Matthew 25:13. There are doors that open only within certain seasons, and you are invited to walk through them. Not when you are perfect, but when you respond. Do not look for loud external signs to confirm what I am speaking. I do not always speak through thunder, but through a whisper, as when I spoke to Elijah, not in the wind, not in the earthquake, but in a gentle whisper, 1 Kings 19:12. And it is in the depths of your being that I am calling you. In every desire to change, in every stirring to step forward, that is, me. Remember the prodigal son. He did not wait until everything was in order before returning. He rose in the midst of his brokenness and began to walk, Luke 15:18. And while he was still far off, I ran to him. You do not need to be perfect to begin. You only need to begin. Do not let delay become your chains. Every time you hesitate, you are allowing fear to hold you back. But you were not created to live inside a golden cage, a place that appears safe, yet quietly restrains you. You were created to soar, to live fully, to step into something greater than yourself. Those who hope in the Lord will renew their strength. They will soar on wings like eagles, Isaiah 40:31. Therefore, my beloved, rise. You do not need to wait until you feel strong. You do not need to see the entire path. Just step forward, even if that step trembles. Leave behind what is familiar yet confining you. Choose the light, my beloved child. This is the moment when your soul can no longer remain in between. Not tomorrow, not when you feel strong enough, but now, while your heart can still be stirred, while there is still a spark within you that has not gone out. I do not require perfection from you, nor do I seek a life without scars. What I am waiting for is a step forward, no matter how small, how unsteady, but real. If you have faith as small as a mustard seed, nothing will be impossible for you. Matthew 17:20. It is not the size of your faith that determines the outcome, but your willingness to use it. I have always been here, never leaving you for even a moment, even in your darkest nights. When you believed yourself completely alone, I was still walking beside you. I have heard every unspoken sob, seen every moment you struggled to stand when no one else noticed. You have kept count of my wanderings, put my tears in your bottle, Psalm 56:8. Nothing you have endured is unseen before me. And today, I am still here not to judge you, but to embrace you, to lift you up, and to guide you forward. But my child, the door will not open if you do not reach out your hand. The path will not appear if you do not take a step. I do not force you, for love does not compel. I invite you, and I wait for your response. Here I am. I stand at the door and knock. If anyone hears my voice and opens the door, Revelation 3:20. If you open, I will come in not to change you through pressure, but to transform you through love. Come to me with your whole, true self. There is no need to hide. There is no need to pretend to be strong. Just as the prodigal son rose in the midst of his brokenness and returned, Luke 15:20, so can you simply turn back, and I will run to you. You do not need to fix yourself before coming to me. It is in your coming that I begin to restore what has been broken. Do not be afraid of your weakness. I did not choose you because you are strong, but because I desire to reveal my power through you. My power is made perfect in weakness. 2 Corinthians 12-9. The scars you carry do not diminish your worth. They become the very places where my light shines most clearly. I am not seeking those who have never been broken. I am seeking hearts that are willing to be healed. And my beloved, do not let the voice of the world define you. Do not allow judgments, old memories, or past failures to tell you who you are. I have called you by your name. You are mine. Isaiah 43:1. You are not a mistake. You are not an afterthought. You are a creation formed from everlasting love, chosen with a purpose far greater than you have yet seen. Speak to me, even if it is only a whisper. I am ready. You do not need to be perfect. You do not need to be certain. You only need to be real. And when you speak those words, you will step into a new journey, not a journey of striving alone, but one of walking with me. My beloved child, there are paths that only open when you dare to step beyond the fear that has been holding you back. There are miracles that only appear after you surrender yourself into trust, not because you see clearly, but because you know that I am there. I am not calling you to sit still and wait for the miraculous to arrive. I am inviting you to become the one who steps into it. The righteous shall live by faith. Romans 1:17. Faith is not standing at a distance, it is stepping forward. Even when your legs tremble and your eyes cannot yet see the whole path. This is not a random moment. This is an appointed time. I am awakening within you something that was once forgotten, your true identity. You were not created to be consumed by darkness, but to shine even in the deepest places of it. You are the light of the world. Matthew 5:14. Not a faint or fragile light, but a light ignited from me. You are a bearer of dawn, not one imprisoned in the night. Therefore, choose me not out of fear, but out of faith, not because you feel weak, but because you recognize that true strength is found in me. The Lord is my strength and my song. Psalm 118-14. When you choose me, you are not merely making a decision, you are stepping into a new current. Doors you thought were closed will begin to open. Wounds you believed could never heal will start to be restored. For I do not only give you life, I give you life abundantly. John 10:10. But my child, do not misunderstand faith. Faith is not a fleeting emotion, nor a sense of peace that only appears when everything is favorable. Faith is a choice to trust even when you feel nothing, a choice to stand firm when everything around you is shaking. For we walk by faith, not by sight. 2 Corinthians 5-7. Faith is when you say, even if I do not understand, I will still trust. Even if I do not see, I will still step forward. Remember Abraham when I called him to leave everything and go to a place he had never known. He had no map, no assurance in the way the world defines it. Yet he went because he trusted the one who called him. Hebrews 11-8. And it was in his going that what I had promised began to unfold. So it is with you. Clarity does not always come before the step, but in the step itself. And my word, my beloved, is not lifeless text. It is life. The words I have spoken to you, they are spirit and they are life. John 6-63. When you open my word, you are not merely reading, you are encountering me. That word is a fire that consumes lies, a breath that revives what has grown dry. For the word of God is living and active. Hebrews 4:12. When you keep my word within your heart, you no longer stand on shifting emotions, but on unshakable truth. Therefore, my beloved, step forward, not when you are fully ready, but right in the midst of your unpreparedness. Let faith lead you, not your feelings. Let my word guide you, not your fear. My beloved child, hear this as an unshakable truth. My word is not something fragile, easily swept away by the wind. It lives. It carries power, and it is sharper than any double-edged sword, penetrating even to dividing soul and spirit. Hebrews 4:12. There is no hidden thought within you that my word cannot reach. There is no wound so deep that my word cannot pierce through to bring healing. My word does not merely point the way, it is the way. It does not only illuminate, it is the light that leads you through every darkness. When you lose your way, my word will guide you back. Your word is a lamp to my feet and a light to my path. Psalm 119-105. When your heart grows cold with doubt, my word becomes the fire that warms you from within. When the world turns away, when other voices wound you, my word remains unfailing, unchanging, and never leaving you. But my child, my word cannot become your strength if you only stand at a distance and look at it. You must take hold of it. You must consume it as the nourishment of your soul, not merely hearing it through others, not skimming it in passing, but seeking it, meditating on it, and holding it firmly within your heart. Man shall not live on bread alone, but on every word that proceeds from the mouth of God. Matthew 4:4. My word is not an addition, it is your life. Take hold of the word as a soldier takes up his sword on the battlefield. When lies attack, do not remain silent, strike back with truth. When fear surrounds you, do not flee, stand firm upon my promises. When weakness comes, do not collapse, lean into the power I have placed within you. Take the sword of the Spirit, which is the word of God. Ephesians 6:17. This is not a symbolic image, but a real weapon you are meant to use every day. And if you hold on to the promises I have spoken, if you choose to believe even when circumstances say otherwise, then you will be upheld, not because you will never face pain, but because you will not be overcome by it. The righteous may fall 7 times, but they rise again. Proverbs 24:16. There is no battle you will face that I have not already known. There is no attack you endure for which I have not already prepared protection. Remember Jesus in the wilderness. When the enemy came, he did not rely on his own strength, but used the word to counter every lie. Matthew 4:4-10. And the enemy was forced to withdraw. So it is with you. When you stand in my word, the adversary has no authority to touch your soul. I do not promise you a life without storms, but I promise you something greater. I will be with you in every storm. When the waves rise, I remain the ground on which you stand firm. When you fall, I do not abandon you. I reach out and lift you up. The Lord is good, a stronghold in the day of trouble. Nahum 1-7. Look to the cross, the place where victory has already been decided, not by human strength, but by unconditional love and complete sacrifice. It is finished, John 19:30. There, the enemy lost its final claim. And if you are in me, that victory is yours as well. You will face trials. There will be days when you feel alone, misunderstood, deeply wounded. But even in those moments, you are not alone. I am with you. I am in you. I am with you always. Matthew 28-20. My power is still at work, even when you cannot yet see it. My beloved child, do not let the roaring sounds of darkness cause you to tremble to the point that you forget who I am. The adversary may roar like a lion, but I am the Lion of the tribe of Judah, the one who does not merely threaten, but has already overcome. See, the Lion of the tribe of Judah has triumphed. Revelation 5:5. That victory is not something waiting to happen, it has already been secured. And because I live, you also will live. John 14:19. This is not merely comfort, it is the very foundation on which you stand. Therefore, my child, place your trust in me, not merely in a fleeting emotional moment, but day by day, continuously. Faith does not grow from the signs and wonders you see, but from obedience and a genuine relationship with me. Faith comes by hearing, and hearing by the word of Christ. Romans 10:17. When you allow my word to dwell within you, when you choose to act even before you see the outcome, your faith will become steady and unshakable. Stand firm. Do not retreat. Do not let go before you see what I have promised. For my word is not lifeless text, it is a weapon. And when you take hold of it by faith, every lie loses its power. Resist the devil, and he will flee from you. James 4:7. You do not need to strain yourself to overcome. You only need to stand in truth. And the enemy will not be able to stand against you. You are not fighting alone. I go before you to prepare the way. I stand beside you to keep you steady. I am behind you to protect you. I will go before you. I will break down gates of bronze. Isaiah 45:2. Every step you take in trust, I am there. There is not a single step you walk that I do not see, that I do not uphold. And, my beloved, when the path ahead seems unclear, do not be afraid. I have never called you to walk alone. Just as I led my people through the sea when there was no way, just as I sustained them in the wilderness when there was no provision, so I will lead you. The Lord will fight for you. You need only to be still. Exodus 14:14. You do not need to understand the entire path. You only need to hold my hand. I am not a God of distant stories. I am the God of the present. I still make a way where there is no way. I still heal broken hearts. I still bring to life what you thought was dead. I, the Lord, do not change. Malachi 3:6. What I have done, I am still doing, and I desire to do it through your life. Not because you are worthy, not because you are perfect, but because I have chosen you and what I choose. I do not abandon. I have loved you with an everlasting love. Jeremiah 31:3. No mistake you make will cause me to leave. No weakness will make me turn away. When you are weary, I am there. When you fail, I am still there. When you doubt, I remain unchanged. My mercies are new every morning. Lamentations 3:23. Each day you awaken is not merely another day. It is a new opportunity to return to me, to rise again, to continue the journey. Therefore, my beloved, keep moving forward. You do not need to be fast. You do not need to be perfect. You only need to be faithful. My beloved child, you are not called to live by what your eyes can see, but to walk by faith, a faith that is not shaken by circumstances, nor diminished by what you are going through. The righteous shall live by faith. Romans 1:17. You were not created to be overwhelmed by storms, but to pass through them, not to escape, but to stand firm and reflect my power in the midst of a trembling world. Therefore, my child, lift your head. Keep moving forward. You do not need to see the whole path. You only need to know that I am leading you. For I, the one who calms the sea, am also the one holding your hand and guiding you into safety within my embrace. Be still and know that I am God. Psalm 46:10. Your peace does not come from the storm disappearing, but from knowing that I am there. But I also see the circumstances you are facing. There are days when you feel as though you are walking through a wilderness where everything is dry and depleted, where hope seems to be carried away by the wind. The resources you once relied on are no longer there. The doors that once stood open now seem closed. The future appears uncertain. I see all of this, and I do not take it lightly. Yet, my child, It is in the wilderness that I reveal myself as your provider. When my people had nothing to eat, I gave them bread from heaven, Exodus 16:4. When they thirsted in a dry land, I brought forth water from the rock, Exodus 17:6. Not because the circumstances were favorable, but because I am a source that never runs dry. I am not limited by what you see. I am not dependent on the conditions around you. I am the spring in your desert. I am the source of life when everything else has withered. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want, Psalm 23:1. This is not a promise that you will always have everything you desire, but a guarantee that you will not lack what you truly need. You do not have to strive to survive. You do not have to live in fear of lack. For I know what you need before you even speak it. Your Father knows what you need before you ask Him. Matthew 6:8. I do not wait for perfect prayers in order to act. I have already seen, already heard, already prepared. Look at the flowers of the field, they do not toil, yet they are clothed in beauty. Look at the birds of the air, they do not store away, yet they are fed, Matthew 6:26-28. If I care for them, how much more will I care for you, my beloved child? My beloved, the wilderness is not your end. It is the place where I teach you that I alone am your source. It is where you learn to trust, not in what you have, but in the one who holds you. Therefore, do not fear lack. Do not fear closed doors. For I am able to open paths you have never imagined. See, I am doing a new thing. I will make a way in the wilderness and rivers in the desert. Isaiah 43:19. Place your trust in me not as a heavy obligation, but as a place of complete rest, like a child lying peacefully in the arms of a father. No longer burdened, no longer striving to carry everything alone. Cast all your anxiety on Him because He cares for you. 1 Peter 5-7. You do not need to carry the weight of tomorrow, for tomorrow is not in your hands, it is in mine, and I am already there ahead of you. I have been in your past, preserving you through what you once thought you could not endure. I am present with you now, breathing with your breath, sustaining every step you take, and I have already stepped into your future, the place you have not yet reached, but which I have prepared. Do not worry about tomorrow. Each day has enough trouble of its own. Matthew 6:34. Each day I will provide what is sufficient, not excess that causes you to forget me, not lack that causes you to collapse, but enough for you to recognize that I am your source of life. My child, faith does not wait for clarity before it begins. Faith is stepping forward when you do not yet see. Blessed are those who have not seen and yet have believed. John 20:29. When you continue walking with empty hands, that is when you are truly holding on to me. When you lift your voice in praise in the wilderness, that is when you are standing in real faith. Remember, my people in the desert, each day they receive manna not stored for tomorrow, but enough for that day alone. Exodus 16:18. I was teaching them to trust me daily, step by step. So it is with you. I do not want you to live in fear of lack, but in the assurance that I will always provide at the right time. And what I give you is not limited to what your hands can touch. I give you a peace that the world cannot understand. The peace of God will guard your hearts and your minds. Philippians 4-7. I give you a joy that does not depend on circumstances. I give you wisdom when you do not know what to choose. I give you endurance to stand firm when everything around you is shaking. I do not merely sustain your life, I nourish your soul. And my beloved, do not misunderstand the wilderness you are walking through. This is not your end. This is where I am preparing you. Just as I led my people through the desert before bringing them into the promised land, I am leading you through a process not to exhaust you, but to establish you. He humbled you in the wilderness to test you, to know what was in your heart, Deuteronomy 8:2. My beloved child, do not let this season of dryness convince you that life has left you. Do not let the feeling of lack cause you to stop sowing in faith. For it is precisely when you feel you have nothing left to give that I am preparing something greater than you have ever seen. Those who sow in tears will reap with songs of joy. Psalm 126:5. Keep praying. Keep seeking me. Keep moving forward, not with noise, but with faithfulness, and you will see what I bring forth. Not by your strength, but by my faithfulness. You are not forgotten in that dry land. I see you. I hear every sigh you have hidden in the night. I have indeed seen the misery of my people. I have heard them crying out, Exodus 3-7. Not a single cry of yours falls into emptiness. And I, in all my riches and glory, will not leave you alone. I do not merely keep you surviving, I lead you into a life that is abundant, strong, and steadfast, even in the very place where you once thought you would wither. Therefore, lift up your head. Do not keep fixing your gaze on the emptiness around you. Look to me, the one who fills all things. I am the one who provides. The Lord will provide, Genesis 22:14. When Abraham thought there was no way out, I had already prepared the ram in a place he had not yet seen. So it is with you, what you do not yet see does not mean I have not already prepared. I do not give abundance in the way the world measures it. I do not measure by what you accumulate, but by the life I place within you. I am the one who makes what is small become enough. I am the one who turns what seems insignificant into a miracle. Remember the 5 loaves and 2 fish in your hands. They seemed like nothing, but in my hands they fed thousands. Matthew 14:17-20. My beloved, I do not see you through the lens of disappointment as you often see yourself. I see you as a seed carrying within it a great life yet to be revealed. I am able to do exceedingly abundantly above all that you ask or imagine. Ephesians 3:20. What you see as limitation, I see as a beginning. My beloved child, do not despise what is in your hands today. What you call small, in my eyes, is a seed filled with the potential of a miracle. You may measure value by human recognition, but I look at the heart. Whoever is faithful in very little is also faithful in much. Luke 16. No act born of love and faith is ever overlooked by me. The whispered prayers in the night, when no one else hears, I hear them. The compassionate glance you offer to someone in pain, I see it. The coin you share, even when you yourself are lacking, I take note of it. Your Father, who sees what is done in secret, will reward you. Matthew 6-4. You do not need the world's recognition for what you do to have value. It is enough that I see, and I have seen. Remember the widow of Zarephath. She had only a handful of flour and a little oil, barely enough for a day, let alone for the future. Yet when she chose to offer that little in obedience, I caused her supply not to run dry. 1 Kings 17:14. Miracles do not begin with abundance, they begin with trust. And you remember the boy with the 5 loaves and 2 fish in human hands. It was far too little, but when it was placed in my hands, it became enough for thousands. Matthew 14:19-20. Do you see? I do not require greatness. I require what is surrendered. Miracles do not come because you have much, but because you are willing. They do not come because you are perfect, but because you believe. Therefore, my beloved, do not wait until you feel enough. Do not delay because you think what you have is insignificant. Bring to me what you do have, even if it is only a little time, a small ability, or a heart that is still breaking. The sacrifices of God are a broken spirit. Psalm 51-17. I do not reject what is honest. Look at how I work. I do not overlook the small. I multiply it. I do not despise the weak. I use it to reveal my power. God chose the weak things of the world to shame the strong. 1 Corinthians 1:27. What you see as limitation, I see as a beginning. My beloved child, listen to me not only with physical ears, but with the deepest place within your soul, the place where truth does not need to be proven, but simply shines. There are things unfolding beyond what your eyes can perceive, movements within eternity that you do not yet recognize. But I tell you this, you are not forgotten. Before you ever doubted your own worth, those who have gone before you already spoke of you with joy, not because you were flawless, but because they saw what I was forming within you. As it is written, we are surrounded by so great a cloud of witnesses, Hebrews 12:1. You are held within a testimony of love and hope, a watching presence that does not condemn, but encourages you to continue the journey appointed for you even before you were born, and while you are still piecing together fragments of your life. I have already seen the whole picture. You call it coincidence, delay, or meaningless repetition, but to me, it is precise orchestration threads woven into a design far greater than you can comprehend. For I know the plans I have for you, plans to give you a future and a hope. Jeremiah 29:11. You are not merely surviving each day, you are being guided through layers of a sacred unfolding. Every moment of your existence is not an accident. It is part of a calling I am whispering into your life, inviting you into a role that only you can fulfill within my kingdom. But my child, I know there have been nights when you were so weary that you no longer had words left to pray, moments of silence where you wondered if I had withdrawn from your life. You asked within your heart, am I still seen? Am I still remembered? And it is precisely in those moments that I am closest to you. Every tear you have shed has not fallen into emptiness, but has been gathered as something precious before me. You have kept count of my wanderings, put my tears in your bottle. Psalm 56:8. You thought you were weak, but I saw sincerity. You thought you were lost, but I was guiding you through paths that only brokenness could open. Therefore, do not think that I call you because you have reached some standard of worthiness. I did not choose you based on perfection, but on a heart that longs for me. It is your incomplete seeking that has touched me more than any outward achievement. Blessed are those who hunger and thirst for righteousness, for they shall be filled. Matthew 5:6. You may not yet feel strong, but you are turning toward me. You may not yet feel steady, but you are facing the light, and that is what I desire, not a life without flaw, but a soul willing to be transformed. Remember the story of Samuel in the temple when my voice called out in the night. He did not immediately recognize me. He ran to Eli, thinking it was a human voice, until he was taught to respond, "Speak, Lord, for your servant is listening." 1 Samuel 3:10. Do you see? Even when you do not yet discern clearly, I continue to call with patience. I do not withdraw my voice because you do not understand it. I repeat it. I wait. I guide you step by step until you learn to recognize me. And like Samuel, you will gradually realize that this voice is not from the world, but from the one who formed you. Now you stand at the threshold of something new, not because you are fully ready, but because I have appointed this time. Do not wait until you feel sufficient, for you will never arrive there on your own. Your sufficiency comes from me, not from yourself. My grace is sufficient for you, for my power is made perfect in weakness. 2 Corinthians 12:9. It is precisely where you feel most lacking that my fullness is most clearly revealed. Therefore, my beloved, stop looking at yourself through the eyes of fear and begin to see through the light of your calling. You are not an excess piece in this story. You are a piece placed exactly where you belong, at the right time, with an irreplaceable purpose. I am not merely inviting you closer, I am drawing you deeper. into a place where you no longer define yourself by your past, but by what I am doing in the present. Let your heart soften before me. Allow me to touch the places you once kept hidden, for I do not come to expose you in shame, but to heal you in love. When you are weak, do not run away, draw nearer. When you are confused, do not shut down, open yourself. For I am there not at the end of your journey, but right in the middle of where you stand. And I will not abandon the work I have begun in you until it is completed in the glory you have never yet imagined. And when you look back on the path you have walked, the turns that seemed wrong, the losses that caused you pain, the moments you once resented because you did not understand, you will realize they were never as disconnected as they appeared. I have gathered every broken piece, every uneven step, and woven them into a harmony only I could compose. You see disorder, but I see completion. As it is written, the Lord will fulfill his purpose for me. Psalm 138:8. And this is true for you as well. Nothing in your life is wasted when it is placed in my hands. But my child, what I am forming within you cannot be fully revealed if you remain bowed under the weight of your past. Old labels, former failures that caused you to doubt yourself, or unfair judgments spoken over you, none of these have authority over who you are becoming. I do not look at you through the lens of what has been. I look at you through what I am calling you into. If anyone is in Christ, he is a new creation. The old has passed away. Behold, all things have become new. 2 Corinthians 5:17. Therefore, stand upright, not by confidence drawn from yourself, but by the assurance that you are held in my unbreakable hand. Remember the story of Esther, a young orphan with no status and no power, yet placed in the royal palace not to enjoy its privileges, but to become the instrument through which an entire nation was saved. When the appointed moment arrived, she was reminded, and who knows but that you have come to your royal position for such a time as this. Esther 4:14. Do you see? What appears random in the eyes of men is in my hands. A strategic placement. In the same way, where you stand today, the relationships you hold, the opportunities before you, they are not accidental. I have positioned you exactly where you are, at the right time, so that through you, my light may be revealed in a way no one else can replace. Therefore, from this moment forward, I call you to change how you see. Do not measure your future through limited reasoning or through the fears that once made you hesitate. Learn to see through faith, a deep inner knowing that you are being guided. For we walk by faith, not by sight. 2 Corinthians 5-7. As you walk in that trust, you will realize you are never alone. There is an unseen yet real presence that surrounds you and strengthens every step you take. My beloved child, the moment you are living in is not a meaningless fragment of time, but a sacred intersection where heaven's intention meets your reality. This is a marking point, a turning place from which you will no longer return to the old way of living. Your heart becomes a dwelling place where I am more clearly revealed. And from within that place, a new story begins to flow. You are no longer only one who receives, you become one who carries. You are no longer only one who is touched, you become one through whom others are touched. For I have heard you in your darkest nights, and now I desire that through you, many others will also know they are not forgotten. So, move forward. You do not need to strive to prove anything, nor wait until you feel strong enough. You step forward not because you are perfect, but because I am your unshakable foundation. The Lord is my rock and my fortress. Psalm 18:2. When you rest your trust in me, you no longer need to fear the outcome, for you are never walking alone. Hold this deep within your heart. You are the one I have chosen, the one I cherish, the one I have called by name and will not withdraw. Your name is not written only on the fragile pages of time, but engraved upon my very heart where no power can erase it. And I, who began this work in you, will bring it to completion in wholeness. Therefore, live not as one searching for meaning, but as one who has already been given meaning and now walks it out in the world. My beloved child, there are moments you cannot measure through your senses, silent spaces that the world calls empty, but which are filled with my life. In that stillness, when all noise fades, I hear something greater than every sound on earth, your name being spoken in eternity, not as an empty echo, but as a divine declaration that you belong to me, that you are remembered, called, and placed where no other can replace you. Your names are written in heaven, Luke 10:20. Your name is not a temporary mark, it is an eternal imprint within my presence. You may have once believed your life was only a chain of disconnected events, things unfolding without order or meaning. But I tell you, nothing in your life is accidental. Every step you take, every breath you breathe, every tear you silently shed, I have seen it all. All the days ordained for me were written in your book before one of them came to be. Psalm 139:16. You are not living in randomness. You are walking through a process written by love and wisdom beyond your understanding. Even what you thought was a detour, I have used to bring you back into alignment with what I have prepared for you. And my child, understand this with your whole heart. There is a deeper connection between you and those who have gone before you than you have realized. Not a binding of memory, but a living stream of faith, intercession, and faithfulness carried through generations, showing love to 1,000 generations of those who love me. Exodus 20:6. What you are stepping into is not only the result of your own life, but the continuation of a sacred inheritance woven long before you arrived. Prayers once whispered in hidden places, tears shed by those who loved you, sacrifices no one saw, these are still speaking, still alive, and still upholding you in ways your eyes cannot perceive. Remember the story of Josiah, a young king who ascended the throne at a very early age, in a nation that had drifted far from my ways. Yet when the book of the law was found and read aloud, his heart was deeply moved, and he began a great work of restoration for the entire people. What is significant is this: Josiah did not begin from nothing. He stood upon a foundation that had already been established, though long forgotten. Because your heart was responsive, I have heard you. 2 Kings 22. Joe, do you see? There are things sown in the past that, at the appointed time, rise again through a willing heart. In the same way, you are stepping into what has long been prepared. And as you open your heart, you become the meeting point between what was sown and what is about to be revealed. My beloved child, those who have gone before you, souls now resting in my light, are no longer bound by time as you are. They do not see you through the lens of your present weakness, but through the completed picture I have already finished in eternity. They see you in purpose, in wholeness, in a glory you have not yet recognized. And therefore, the remembrance of you in heaven is not coincidence, but affirmation, a declaration that you are within the flow of what I have ordained. So do not continue to evaluate your life through scattered fragments. The pieces you think are meaningless are being placed by my hand into their proper position. Every small detail, every moment you thought was forgotten, is contributing to a much greater design. For we are His workmanship, created in Christ Jesus for good works, which God prepared beforehand. Ephesians 2:10. You are not writing your life alone. You are walking within a work that I have designed. Let this settle deeply within you. You are not only living in the present, you are carrying continuation, fulfillment, and revelation You are the meeting point between what has been promised and what is being fulfilled. And in all of this, I am with you, not merely observing, but weaving, guiding, and bringing all things to completion. Therefore, my beloved child, be at peace as you move forward. When you feel small, remember that your name is being spoken in the highest places. When you feel lost, remember that you are placed exactly where you belong within a plan that cannot fail. And when you cannot yet see the fullness of the picture, trust that I, the one who began this work, will not cease until every line of your life reflects the glory I intended from the beginning. There are moments when you look at your own life and see only confusion, a scattered image where pieces of memory do not align, where choices seem to have left fractures that cannot be repaired. You wonder whether all of it is drifting into meaninglessness, whether what has passed has damaged what is ahead. But from where I dwell, where light never fades, I do not see brokenness as you perceive it. I see a process being completed, a work slowly revealing its form, where every thread, whether bright or dark, is woven together to highlight what matters most. My love for you has not changed, and my purpose for you cannot be broken. And we know that in all things, God works for the good of those who love Him. Romans 8:28. Even your regrets are not beyond my transforming hand. There may still be wounds within you that have not yet healed, memories you hide because you fear misunderstanding or exposure. You look at these fractures and think they weaken you. But I look at them and see places where I am already at work. I do not see you as someone permanently marked by pain. I see you as someone being restored layer by layer. He heals the brokenhearted and binds up their wounds. Psalm 147:3. The storms you have walked through are not endings. They are refining fires where true strength is formed. Not by your effort, but by my presence within you. Quietly, yet continually working. Remember the story of the man born blind, whom the disciples asked about sin and blame. But I said, neither this man nor his parents sinned. But this happened so that the works of God might be displayed in him. John 9:3. What you once interpreted as deficiency, I have chosen as a place of revelation. In the same way, what you once wished to erase from your life, I do not discard. I transform it into a living testimony of restoration. You are not defined by your wounds. You are being formed by my hand, working precisely in those places. And my child, you do not walk this journey alone. There is a covering your eyes cannot see, a presence that is not loud but is always there. Those who have gone before you, those who have completed their earthly race, are not cut off from the flow of faith you are walking in. Since we are surrounded by such a great cloud of witnesses, Hebrews 12:1, they do not stand at a distance like strangers, but as witnesses filled with hope, seeing you not through your failures, but through the potential I have placed within you. They no longer see through the limits of flesh, but through the light of eternity, where all things are made clear. They see you when you think you have failed, and they rejoice not because you have never fallen, but because you rise again. They see your slow, trembling steps, and they recognize them as signs of perseverance. They know that what I have begun in you is not a temporary work, but a journey that will be brought to completion. He who began a good work in you will carry it on to completion until the day of Christ Jesus. Philippians 1:6. My faithfulness does not depend on your stability. It stands firm on my unchanging nature. Therefore, my beloved, do not fear the unfinished parts of your life. A work in progress cannot be rightly judged before it is complete. The lines that seem messy today will become essential strokes in the beauty of tomorrow. I am not impatient like you. I do not abandon what I begin. I am patient, but it's easy, and complete in all that I do. Continue to walk, not because you understand everything, but because you trust the one who is leading you. When you feel weak, remember that true strength does not begin with you. When you feel lost, remember that you are still in my hand. And when you look at your life and cannot yet see meaning, trust that I am weaving what your eyes cannot yet perceive. You are part of a story that is not finished. You are the place where I am revealing the power of restoration. And you will see, in due time, that everything, even what once caused you the deepest pain, has been transformed by me to reflect my glory through your very life. My beloved child, I see the moments when your heart grows weary to the point that you no longer dare to hope, no longer have the strength to pray for what once made your spirit burn with desire. You have learned to stay silent, to accept, to withdraw inward so you would not be disappointed again. But hear me clearly, with both tenderness and authority. I did not create you to live in the shadow of resignation. I formed you to rise, to live fully, to enter into a journey far beyond every limit you have placed upon yourself. I have come that they may have life, and have it abundantly. John 10:10. The life I have prepared for you is not mere survival, it is fullness, radiance, and purpose. My child, you may look at your dreams and feel they are too large, too distant, too difficult to reach. You may even wonder whether you have what it takes to enter into them. But it is precisely in the place where you feel most incapable that I begin to move most powerfully. With man, this is impossible, but with God, all things are possible. Mark 10:27. What you call impossible is only the starting point for my power. I do not require you to be perfect in order to do great things through you. I only require you to be willing. Remember the story of Abraham and Sarah when the promise of a child came after they were already old. When every natural possibility had closed, Sarah laughed because she thought it was impossible. But I declared, "Is anything too hard for the Lord?" Genesis 18:14. And what seemed beyond hope became reality. Do you see? The limits you see do not limit me. The places you believe are closed, I can still open, and I am still doing that in your life. My beloved child, do not be quick to conclude that the desires within you are mistakes. Do not rush to silence the sparks that were once lit within your soul. I know every hidden longing you carry, every dream you have never spoken because you feared rejection, misunderstanding, or even that I would not listen. But I do not push those things away. I hear them. I treasure them, for many of them are seeds I myself have placed within you. Delight yourself in the Lord, and He will give you the desires of your heart. Psalm 37:4. When your heart turns toward me, those purified desires become pathways into the purpose I have already prepared. You do not need to prove yourself worthy to receive my love. You do not need to reach a certain standard before I accept you. My love does not arrive after success, nor does it diminish in failure. We love because He first loved us. 1 John 4:19. My love always goes before you, always surrounds you, always lifts you up. Even when you see yourself as weak, I still choose you not because of your strength, but because my power is made perfect in weakness. 2 Corinthians 12:9. Therefore, do not be afraid. Do not allow past wounds to define your future. What has been has no authority over what I will do. Dare to dream again, not with reckless emotion, but with trust in me. Dare to believe again, not because everything feels certain, but because you know the one who leads you is faithful. Be strong and courageous, for the Lord your God is with you. Joshua 1-9. You do not step into the new season alone. Let me take your hand and lead you forward, not through pressure, but through love, not through force, but through gentle guidance. I will bring you into a new chapter where pain is no longer an ending, but becomes seed for new life. Those who sow in tears will reap with songs of joy. Psalm 126:5. What you have walked through will not be wasted. It will give birth to something good that far exceeds what you once imagined. My beloved child, keep going. Even if your steps are unsteady, even if your heart still hesitates, keep stepping forward. For every step you take in faith carries eternal value. And you will see, when you look back, that every moment of this journey, both joy and sorrow, was used by me to bring you to the place where you were meant to belong. My beloved child, when you stand at crossroads filled with confusion, when before you are doors that seem closed, when the voices of others continue to question your worth, lean your ear toward me, the one whose whisper is not loud, but carries authority beyond what you can see. I am not unfamiliar with your pain, nor distant from your weakness. I see every tear you have shed in silence. I hear every word you cannot bring yourself to speak. And I am there, even in the very place you thought you were most forgotten. He will call on me, and I will answer him. I will be with him in trouble. Psalm 91:15. Not after you escape the storm, but while you are still within it, I am already present. You may think this journey has gone too far, that what was lost cannot be restored, that what is closed will never open again. But my child, I am the one who begins and also completes. I am the Alpha and the Omega. Revelation 22:13. I do not only see where you stand, I see where you are going. And when you fall along the way, I do not condemn you. I reach out my hand, lift you up, and say, take my hand, you are not alone. I did not call you to fight by yourself, but to walk with me step by step, moment by moment, season by season. Remember what I have done in the barren wilderness. I made water flow from the rock in desolate places. I provided daily sustenance for my people when the sea blocked their path. I parted the waters so they could walk through. The Lord will fight for you. Exodus 14:14. You are not meant to carry everything on your own. And if I have done these things before, I am still able today to make a way for you, even in the very place where you see no way out. Remember Jairus, when he heard that his daughter had died and all hope seemed to have ended. I said to him, do not be afraid, only believe. Mark 5:36. Do you see? Even where something appears finished, I remain life itself. Even when what you love most seems lost, I can restore it. I can breathe life again into dreams you have buried, into faith you think has died, into love you believe is gone. Therefore, my beloved child, it is time for you to rise, not in your own strength, but in mine. Do not let invisible chains, old words spoken over you, past failures, self-imposed limitations continue to hold you back. If the Son sets you free, you will be free indeed. John 8:36. You are no longer bound by your past. I do not see you through your mistakes, but through the purpose I placed within you from the beginning. You are not a mistake. You are not the result of chance. Before I formed you in the womb, I knew you. Jeremiah 1-5. You were placed in this time, this place, and these circumstances not by accident, but because I have a plan. Remember Esther, who was brought into her position for such a time as this. Esther 4:14. So it is with you. You are standing exactly where you need to be, so that what I have ordained may be revealed through your life. You may feel that you are not enough, not ready, not worthy. But my child, it is in your weakness that my power is made complete. My power is made perfect in weakness. 2 Corinthians 12:9. I do not require you to be strong before I use you. I make you strong as you walk with me. Therefore, lift up your head. Keep moving forward. Step into what lies ahead, not because you see the whole path, but because you know the one who leads you is faithful. I have engraved you on the palms of my hands, Isaiah 49:16. Your name is held where nothing can erase it. You do not walk alone. Heaven stands with you, and I am beside you, before you, and within you. And my child, hold this truth in your heart, even when you lose faith in yourself. I do not lose faith in you. Even when you turn away from your own worth, I still choose you. My love is not shaken by your success or your failure. Love never fails. 1 Corinthians 13:8. My love is an unshakable foundation, a fire that cannot be extinguished. Therefore, keep moving forward, my beloved child, not in fear, but in trust, not in doubt, but in confidence. For I, the one who has called you, will complete everything I have begun in you, fully, beautifully, and in glory. My beloved, listen to me in the deep stillness of your soul. I am not seeking in you the perfection the world demands. I am looking for a heart that is willing, for it is precisely in your fragility that my power has space to be revealed in fullness. My power is made perfect in weakness, 2 Corinthians 12:9. You do not need to become strong before coming to me. It is in your weakness that I accomplish what is beyond your imagination. Your trembling hands are not an obstacle to me. On the contrary, when you place them in mine, they become instruments through which new chapters are written, not only for your life, but for the lives of many others. Your broken heart does not repel me. It is the very place I choose to dwell within. We have this treasure in jars of clay, 2 Corinthians 4:7, so that the glory does not belong to you, but to me, the one who is at work within you. Remember Peter, who once trembled and denied me at his most critical hour, who failed in the very place he thought he was strongest. Yet I did not end his story there. I restored him, called him again, and raised him into new authority. And the same man who once feared stood before the crowd and declared truth. And thousands were touched in a single day. Acts 2. Do you see? I do not choose based on your past. I choose based on your willingness. And your heart, even while still trembling, is turned toward me. That is what I am looking for. So do not let the voices around you drown out my calling. Do not let delay cause you to question what I have already spoken. I do not promise a path without difficulty, but I do promise my presence. God is our refuge and strength, an ever-present help in trouble. Psalm 46:1. When the storm rises, I do not leave you. I become your shelter. Remember when I stood among the raging sea and spoke a single word, and the wind ceased and the waves were stilled. Mark 4:39. If I can silence the ocean, then the storms within you are not beyond my authority. Your anxieties, your fears, your uncertainties, they are not the final word. I am. Therefore, draw near to me, my beloved. Lay down the burdens you have carried for too long. Cast all your anxiety on him because he cares for you. 1 Peter 5-7. I do not only want to change your circumstances, I want to transform you from within. I do not merely repair cracks, I make all things new within you. Your scars are no longer signs of failure, but testimonies that you have passed through and still remain standing. We are hard-pressed on every side, but not crushed, struck down, but not destroyed. 2 Corinthians 4:8-9. You are still here, still standing, and that itself is evidence that I have been with you throughout your journey. My child, do not delay any longer. I am not only calling you into a task, but first into a relationship. I desire that you know me, draw near to me, and trust me. From that very place, I will lead you into things far beyond what you have ever imagined. What no eye has seen, what no ear has heard, God has prepared for those who love him. 1 Corinthians 2-9. So I ask you now, will you step forward? Will you dare to believe that I am greater than every fear within you? Will you believe that you were not created to live under the shadow of doubt, but to shine in the light of your calling? If you say, yes, then remember this: limitation is no longer the horizon, because the Infinite One lives within you, and wherever I am, there is always hope, a hope that cannot be shaken, cannot be destroyed, and will lead you into the fullness of life I have prepared for you from the very beginning. Thank you for listening to this message. Know this: you are not merely an audience, you are chosen to live daily in the presence of the Word of God. Do not forget to subscribe and turn on the notification bell so you will not miss any spiritual message. Amen.